How's everything going?
It's going. I wouldn't say it's ideal situation, but it's going. You wake up every day, and that's really a good start.
Yeah. So with first and foremost, thank you for coming on the show. Really appreciate taking out time out of your day to do this.
Of course.
And I think, and then also, so since you already kind of brought it up a little bit, how are you? So where are you located? First of all, where do you train out of?
I am located in DC. I'm about 25 minutes out of Washington, DC, so pretty
So
close
you
to
you
a
guys
lot
got
of it.
hit pretty hard, yeah.
Yeah, I know New York was probably one of the worst ones, so it kind of trickled down, I think, towards us. West Virginia has some cases, and Virginia, unfortunately, has some cases. So they're all
Mhm.
surrounding us, and we just have to do what we can do.
Yeah. So what are like the guidelines that you guys are supposed to be following there? Is it any different than some other areas? Do you know?
Um, I know, just speaking from some friends that are like down in Arkansas and stuff like that,
Hmm.
they actually had a curfew. So from
Oh
9 p.m.
wow,
to 5 a.m., they were not allowed to go out at all. So
wow.
here we don't have the curfew yet,
Hmm.
but we still have a lot of stores closed down. There's very few grocery stores open. Major businesses are closed down. Gas stations, are still open, but
Right.
for the most part, everything's closed. The gyms,
Yeah.
everybody's talking about that. So
Yeah.
that took a huge hit for us athletes.
Well, I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, and we're
Oh,
we're in the same boat. Like we're getting more and more
oh,
cases reported every day. Everything is closed.
yeah.
The gyms tried to stay open in the beginning, and then
Hmm.
the call went out to close all gyms. So, of course,
Yeah.
everybody rushes to the stores to get. I got there super late.
Right.
I was like, I
Oh.
walk in and it's like not a dumbbell to be found anywhere. Like whatever
I
weight
know. I saw
doesn't.
that too.
So
I'm like,
so
wait, I didn't know all these people even worked out because when I was at the gym, I'm like, there was not a lot of people in there. Now all of a sudden, it's like all these people come out of like nowhere that want to
well,
work out and be healthy and fit, and you're like, wait, you had all this time to do it before.
mhm. That's it's actually talked to a couple of people and nobody really like had the same view as me. But I think like you, like I think my theory is that a lot of these weights are being bought by people that never worked out before. What happened is they heard that the
Exactly.
gyms were closed. They were like, "Oh, but
Hmm.
what if I want to work out?"
Yep.
And so everybody rushed and then got the weights. But I bet you pretty soon they're probably going to be either selling them or they're just going to be sitting in the garage like like all the other
Right,
times.
exactly.
So
Exactly. I'm like, this is just not adding up in my head, but there's
yeah.
nothing you
I
can
mean,
do.
yeah, what can you do? I mean, the stores that I checked on, they are still getting shipments. The problem is that as
Uh-huh.
soon as they get them, they're sold out. So it's
Right.
kind of like,
Exactly.
you got to really be
Or they're
there.
just waiting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to really be there early. So how's your setup? Like, how's your training going? Because you've got a fairly muscular physique. You're in the
Yes.
women's physique division,
Physique. Yeah.
so
Hmm.
you got to keep decent amount of muscle on you. How are you getting
Yes.
around that?
Oh, well, initially we were very sad. I wouldn't say frantic, but
Hmm.
you just start contacting some friends of yours that own private gyms or,
Hmm.
just little studio gyms or garage gyms. And you're like, hey, can I stop in for a workout? And, you have to work with what you have. Yeah, I think everybody's doing that at this point. Of
Hmm.
course, I miss the big machines. I miss the big weights, the big leg presses. Those are just what we need as bodybuilders to
Right.
stay on track. But if you know what you're doing, if you're a good trainer, if you are a professional, then you could make a little bit go a long way. So that's
Yeah.
pretty much what I've been doing. Of course, trying to preserve the muscle I have. The good part is when you put your muscle on with time and hard work and it stays, it doesn't just
Hmm.
disappear. So
Hmm.
that's the good thing, is if you put it on with just years and years of hard work, then you don't have to be worried, oh, it's just going to disappear. It doesn't work like that. But as long as you're stimulating your muscle, you're getting some blood flow to it, still activating your muscle fibers in some way, you will be fine. it's
Hmm.
it's mostly in our head. I think we just think that we're going to lose it, so we start to
Right.
freak out, but in reality, you need at least 3 weeks of like not touching a weight, not even moving at all, having your diet be pretty poor in order for you to lose,
Right,
the
right,
muscle. So
right.
I'm thankful I have private gym owners here that are allowing just me to go in there. So it's not crowds, there's no
Yeah.
people. It's just me doing like a private time in there. So
Mhm,
they help out professional athletes, the people that are professional at this and they
mhm.
realize it's pretty much their livelihood. So we have to, provide it for them. So I was fortunate.
Yeah, that's a huge benefit because I mean, the
Yeah.
chances to train in a real gym now are slim to
Hmm.
none. I mean, you have people like Flex who have his own gym. Like
Hmm.
I interviewed Missy Truscott, who's uh,
Hmm.
physique
Yep.
fitness athlete, and
Fitness.
she
Yeah, she
yeah,
won the Arnold.
and she has like a decent, pretty good setup at home. So, for people like that, it's a little bit easier. But
Hmm.
you got to do what you got to do what you can. Maybe this will like teach some people to like build up their gym at home, so in case the next
Yes.
flu virus comes around, you'll already be set up. I
Right.
don't know, but a
Right.
big
Or you could just cancel your gym membership, save money, and just train at home. I mean,
that's
it's kind of a
true.
blessing in disguise.
That's true. No, you're absolutely right.
Mm.
I was talking to my wife about it. I was like, "Well, if we get this thing going and we forced to get a decent setup at home, I'm like, maybe I'll train at home even after this whole thing blows over. I don't know. We'll see.
Exactly.
But
Yep.
you
It's a great
brought up
idea.
a diet. How big
Hmm.
is that right now? You think just keeping on track with
I
that?
That's probably the most important thing. I tell myself, I tell all my clients, if you have to choose between eating right or getting to the gym, you should always choose eating right. Because no matter, what you do in the gym, if you're not eating according to that goal, it's really a waste of your time.
Yeah,
So you have all the time now to sit at home. You have this time to actually get your diet on track, your nutrition on track. You have nothing but time. So now you have no excuse.
hmm,
Before it was, I have kids, I have this, I have to go here. And now it's like all you have is time. So there's no excuse. Now is your time to get this structure in place. Get in a routine where you prep certain days, you pack your meals, you research, you understand, ask coaches, ask me, ask professionals who know what they're doing, how to keep yourself on track from not gaining weight, from still, maybe losing weight, because you can lose weight just by changing your diet, not
sure,
necessarily exercise. Yes,
sure.
exercise will help, of course, but if you simply change your nutrition and just your mindset, your body will change. If you
Hmm.
do get to the gym and you can do the extra cardio, then yes, those results will come much faster. But given our situation here, I just say let's focus on nutrition. Just really get the healthy food in your system, and it's only going to boost your immune system. And right now, we all need strong immune systems, so it just makes sense. So
Yeah.
in a way, you have to thank Corona and not look at it like this horrible thing, even though it is.
Mhm.
On the flip side, you do have a lot of positives coming out of it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that's it's a huge part of it, like you said. It's because what a lot of times happens, people kind of get disheartened. They kind of lose they get a little
Hmm.
depressed because they can't go to the gym, and then everything
Hmm.
goes out the window. And including the diet and
Yeah.
everything. And that's when you really start seeing like negative effects. It's not from not going to the gym; it's
Hmm.
from becoming overwhelmed and then just giving up on everything.
Hmm.
Um,
Yes,
but
exactly. And what you eat, it's directly reflected to what your mind does too. So a lot of people think just eating healthy, like, oh, I'm just going to lose weight. But really, eating the right foods, eating healthy foods, nutrient dense foods, it's going to help your brain function. It's just going to
Mhm.
help your brain work better. So you're not
Sure.
working against this depression and all these, bad thoughts. Like it's a never ending positive thing.
Sure, sure. No, you're absolutely right. So as far as like your season and everything, did you have a show planned? Like how was that? How did that affect you as far as all that's concerned?
Yeah, that was I think everybody's kind of in this unsure state right now. I wanted to compete, but later in the year, because I just moved back from California at the end
Hmm.
of January. So I trucked back across the country, came here. You have to kind of rebuild, restart. So I was just forecasting maybe a show like October, November. So prep would start, maybe June, July ish. But with everything going on, you're like, okay, maybe I shouldn't really forecast that because the last thing we want to do as athletes is prep for 16 weeks just to find out that we can't do the show. So you pretty
Sure.
much, you didn't waste that time, but you're like, oh man, like I just put my body through all this. I'm just, caloric deficits and all that type of stuff just to not be able to compete. So I'm probably just going to hold off on it, for now. The stage will always be there. It's never going to go away.
Hmm.
So I think maybe early 2021, because this year I have a couple other things planned. I've gotten into some boxing, and I have like a charity boxing event coming up in September. So
Hmm.
my training has to, be tweaked a little bit because, as we all know, I compete and I don't want to lose at anything. So I'm going to train hard with that, but still, bodybuild, because that's just my core, my foundation of what I
Hmm.
am. So I got some other things in the works, so we might have to just take a pause on that for
What
now.
What do you think? Do you think there'll be a show this year?
I do. I think they're going to pick it back up just much later. I think they canceled the shows out until May. So they're going to see how April goes, because Trump just made the whole 30-day shutdown until the end of April. So that pushes everything back to at least May.
Hmm.
So I really think the IFBB wants to pick it up, because right now they're just losing, losing, losing.
Right.
So let's hope that at least the summer shows are there, because those are really the bulk of what they do. A lot of the national shows, a lot of the pro shows are in summer into like early fall.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. That's it's tough, right? Because with being a promoter, because it's like, what do you do now?
mhm,
Like, it's you're kind of in a no-win position. You don't want to like project that there's going to be
mhm,
like put money into and building up a show and promoting
yep,
and then nothing happens. Just like the athlete, you don't want to start like training and
mhm,
dieting, and because some people don't understand. They think that getting ready for a stage, like for a show, is similar to just leaning out for like every day, and it's not. There's it's a very rigorous
yes,
and
mhm,
something that you can't
yeah,
continue for a long time. So you don't want to put
right,
yourself through that, and then you end up not even utilizing all that effort that you put into
exactly,
the show.
exactly. It's
Yeah,
frustrating.
yeah. And I wonder what's going to happen. It's kind of terrible for the Olympia. I was bringing that
Mhm,
up in earlier podcasts about, so the guy that bought for Wings of Strength owner, right?
mhm.
He bought the Olympia
Jake Wood.
this year. Yeah, Jake Wood, and and now like his first year was, if this happens, it's kind of, it's almost like,
Right,
do you put on like a half show, because are people going to be in their best shape if the Olympia is able to happen, or do you just
right,
scratch the year and go,
right.
to the
I
next
mean,
one?
let's hope that by September, my goodness, let's hope that this thing has been well off, into the better states of Corona. But I would say kind of like the Arnold, because I was at the Arnold this year, and it
Hmm.
was right at the start of kind of this Corona
Right,
thing. That's when like Arnold was going back and forth with the governor, trying to figure out what we can do, because the expo, let's face it, nothing but crowds of people.
right.
So they had to make a decision. But again, those athletes were prepping through the holidays all the way up until March, because I did the Arnold in 2018. So it's very difficult for them. So they were basically performing on stage, but there was nobody in the crowd.
Right.
So it's like these athletes are on the stage. It was kind of like a weird, eerie
Hmm.
feeling. They had some media in the pit, but those were the only people. So they're there performing for no crowds. And I'm like, wow, like that's difficult. So I'm thinking worst case scenario, if they do put on the Olympia, at least they'd be able to get on stage and present themselves in front of the judges, but just not have the massive crowds of people. So the athletes would be able to perform and be okay, but the crowds of
Hmm.
people, the businesses, the tables, and all that type of stuff, unfortunately, would not be able to happen. But I
Yeah.
think they should be okay.
Yeah, well, it's funny because you were talking about the Arnold. I was supposed to be there. Yeah, I was gonna go just to watch,
Mhm.
and the day that I was gonna leave and go, and I go online and find that, oh, by the way, I probably shouldn't be coming because
Mhm.
there's not gonna be an expo. So yeah, it was.
Right.
So how was that going into the Arnold with all that going on? I heard there was checks and all kinds of.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. There was a lot of money lost. We all kind
Mhm.
of know that, which is really difficult because there's businesses that bank on that every single year. Even the local businesses in Columbus for restaurants, they
Yeah.
order bulk amounts of food because they know these people are coming, and their opportunities to make money are just incredible. So the town took a hit, the Arnold took a hit, the IFBB took a hit, the athletes took, it's like everybody took a hit, and there was such short notice. I think they made the announcement on Tuesday, and the athletes were scheduled to go on stage on Thursday.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Yeah.
how in the world are you expecting these people to make changes in basically less than 48 hours? So
Yeah.
that was kind of my thing. Like, you guys should have made that call a week out or 2 weeks out, because people have travel plans, they have
Right.
hotels reserved, it was one of those things where you just go with it. Like, we were there, we were just doing what we were told, like trying to abide by everything, and at a certain point you just go with it, you
Yeah.
can't do anything else.
Yeah, I heard that that it actually everything was supposed to be scratched, even the show, and Arnold fought very
Hmm.
hard to allow at
Yes, he
least the
did.
athletes to compete, which is
Yeah.
great. I was just looking something up online while you were talking. What I wanted to bring up and see what your thoughts were. So there's a competitor. I think she does like figure for WBFF is the division
Hmm. Hmm.
is the organization, and I think Sunny Andrews I think is her name, and she was talking about on her IG that they were doing like a virtual show, like
Hmm.
they would just have some kind of virtual equipment for all the competitors, and it would be that way. What do you
Hmm.
think about that? What are your thoughts on that?
I think, I mean, I know the Arnold was doing a virtual expo after the fact, so they must have put
Hmm.
together something virtual for the fans to kind of go through and get somewhat of the feel of what they were missing out on.
Hmm.
But I think worst case scenario, if that doesn't, if you can't hold the Olympia or you can't hold these shows, then the virtual thing is the only leftover, option. You
Hmm.
have to pretty much do virtual if you want people to get some type of experience and give the athletes a chance to
Sure.
perform and showcase their
Sure.
physique. So
No, I mean, I
mm,
definitely get where you're coming from as far as that is concerned. I was thinking more from the standpoint, what do you think as far as being able to judge a competition that's virtual? Like, because uh,
ooh, yeah.
everybody's, I mean, would there be different lighting for
Yeah,
everyone, different rooms, different,
100%, 100%. Yeah, you're
it-
exactly right. There's a lot of
so,
variables that go into that. So, I mean, we all know that it's a subjective sport. So we're in front of judges and we're judged purely on how you look. I know from just competing for 8+ years that the lighting that, if you take a picture now for your coach, your check-in picture, you
mhm,
send it to them, it looks one way, but if they see you in person, it's a whole different, like, we can see certain lines we
sure.
didn't see before, we can see the detail is there. So that's the frustrating part is for the athlete, because they're not really getting that full glimpse, that full look over to where, hey, I saw lines in her quads and I didn't see them in hers, but it was just the lighting on the virtual thing. So she got the placement, and it's just very,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
unsure. I wouldn't be very sure that they would be able to judge it accurately, but
Mhm.
given the circumstances, we're all just at the point where we're making the best of it.
Right, right, right,
Sorry.
right. I think that's kind of what everybody is coming down to. It's like it's not a matter of what's better. It's a matter of what can you do at all. So
Hmm.
it's just
If anything, yeah.
whatever you can get your hands on, whether it's virtual, whether it's something else, whatever the case may be. Just anything would be better than nothing. So
Exactly.
yeah. How's so do you coach as well? Let's get into that. Like train,
Yes,
coach.
I do. So I have my own business, Kaylee Made. I started in 2017. Worked for corporate gyms my whole life. So eventually, start your own gig.
Hmm.
And I do online coaching, nutrition programs, online workouts, cardio routines, preps for competitors, off seasons for bodybuilders, and really, it's athletes in general.
Hmm.
I've had people that do MMA. I've had people that are bodybuilders. I've had just regular clients that want to lose weight. It doesn't matter. I can coach anybody for anything.
Hmm.
So that's pretty much how it's taken off for me. Do some modeling, of course, just trying to build your brand, build a
Sure.
presence online, public figure. So you want to impact others, help them. And it's been good. It's been hard doing it alone. I don't have like a team behind me. I don't have anybody following me around with a camera, filming me. So
Mhm.
it's difficult to do it on your own. But I'm learning how to just manage things and get through
Yeah.
everything on my own. So if anybody needs help, it's mindset, really. It's mindset
Mhm.
coaching. It's life coaching. It's not just in the gym. Yes, that's where I specialize, but I'm a psychology major, so I do have
Okay.
background in how the mind works. Really, just getting your mind where it needs to be, and your body will follow. I'm not worried about the body, because if I can get your mind where it needs to be, we're set.
Right. Isn't that true? Just if you've got a strong mind, that like everything else will work itself
Uh-huh.
out because I mean, if you could have all the nutrition and knowledge and everything, but if you're mentally
Hmm.
lack willpower or lack something else, or something else is in your way, then none
Yep.
of that will be applied. So
Yeah. Yeah, I've
tough.
seen competitors who will prep for, 16 weeks as a prep. They'll prep for 14, and then 2 weeks out, they can't take it anymore, and they go have a donut, and they go have this, and they cheat on their diet, and you're like, oh my God, why did you do 14 weeks and then you just
Right.
blew it with like 1 week to go? It's
Yeah.
because their mind wasn't there.
Yeah.
Something got in the way of that dedication, that commitment that made them just break. They
Yeah.
couldn't take it anymore. So
Right.
for me, I'm like, I've been training like this for years. So when this corona hit, I'm like, okay, it does suck, yes, but I'm not like, oh my God, my life is over, like,
Yeah.
whatever. It's like, no, because I've been through so much already in my head that it's not like it's nothing. I don't want to say it's not a serious thing. It is, but life has to go on. You have to
Right.
find ways to keep your life going on, and now people are finding ways. Oh, I am going outside to play with my kids. I
Right.
am going here to do. It's like you should have been doing this all along. Like, why did
Sure.
it take such a horrific event for you to realize that you can go outside to work out, or you can
Right.
go play with your kids at home, take their iPads away and play with them? Like, it's just, again, a blessing in disguise, I think, in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's corona is terrible from a health standpoint, but as far as like moving people into a necessity, it was beneficial,
Mhm.
because out of necessity now people are turning to things that they otherwise didn't do, like you mentioned. That's one of those things where now they're like, out of necessity they do that, and which is great. I see so many people running outside. I've never seen this many people run outside. There's all the time people are running, walking, which is,
Yep.
it's a good thing, as long as you're 6 feet apart and social
Right.
distance.
Right.
uh, but
Yes, quite
but
an
yeah.
adjustment for everybody.
Yeah. So, have you had to adjust your I guess your training, or your as far as other people are concerned? Are you doing virtual
Yeah.
things? Like, how are you handling that?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's teaching everybody to use technology, use virtual training. I was mostly online coaching, so I'm
Hmm.
still just following regular procedures because I didn't really train a lot of people in person. But now it's just easy to tune in to a client that I have, virtually train them. We're on FaceTime. Pick up your dumbbells. We're doing this. Okay, we're gonna do some crunch. It's easy. It's actually probably more
Yeah.
convenient for them than having to travel from their home to meet me at the gym, and then I have to drive there, meet them at the gym, and I think it's more convenient for them. So now we might actually stick with virtual training. It might have just kind of got us into this routine of just
Hmm.
being virtual, which is completely fine. And if they're happy, we're happy. We're all seeing results. We don't have to be close to one another in violation of anything. So, I mean, I think it's kind of good.
Yeah.
It's really kind of helping people figure out the best way.
It might. I mean, like you said, it might stick. I was just thinking that, as you were talking, that it might stick if things go back to normal, and people might find, well, it's so much easier just to do it virtually. Let's just do it that way.
Yeah, you
So,
have to thank technology in a situation like this, because if we didn't have it, none of us would be connected like this. And it's so
oh,
cool
sure,
that all the phone companies are giving you a little bit more data plan, or they're helping
sure,
you out. Like, it's actually pretty cool to see the
yeah,
companies, give a little bit more than what they were giving before. So,
right,
like, this is going to be a lesson for everybody across the board.
right,
Everybody.
right. Do you do you have are you employed in another way, less like fitness oriented, or is this
No,
your primary work?
this is it for me.
This is
I
it.
just pretty much do my online thing. I do compete. I do some
Hmm.
work with HD Physiques. That's an online site, and he's the only photographer I work with.
Hmm.
I stick with a very small circle of
Sure.
strong people around me. So, yeah, from here it's just building your business. I mean,
Yeah.
it's now it's a rough time, but once everybody can get back in their groove of things, I think we're going to see a huge spike in
Yeah.
just everything, business
Yeah.
wise. And people are now realizing the importance of fitness, because you should have been eating right and exercising because your immune system would have been strong at this point.
Yeah.
Now you guys wait until potential diseases come this way, or illnesses come, for you to realize, like, I should have been healthy all along. So
Right.
for us athletes, we're like, all right, we're prepared for this. Like, bring it on.
Sure.
Like, we eat right. I take my supplements. I exercise every day. Do everything to boost your immune system. So when things like this come around, you don't have to panic.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
I
just
mean,
how I
like
look at it.
as you're moving your arms, I can kind of see like how you look. I mean, you look really, really lean. Is that kind of how you stay pretty much all year round?
Yeah, I've learned through the years of competing that getting balloon-like in your off season is not a good look. It's definitely taught me a much healthier relationship with food because after shows
Hmm.
we just like to binge and we go crazy. And
Right.
I've been down that road. You know, I've learned that it's just all about moderation. You can have a couple treats after, but you don't have to indulge. Like,
Sure.
why? For
Sure.
that 5 minutes of satisfaction, you're going to spend the rest of your night miserable in the bed because you're, oh, like I can't eat it, and
Dying.
it just doesn't. Right. So I'm like, you know what? I want to stay lean in my off seasons. Now that I'm doing a lot of boxing and jujitsu, it keeps me much leaner because it's just all cardio,
Hmm.
and that's
Hmm.
great for me because I hate steady state cardio. Like I
Yeah.
just hate standing on the stairmaster, standing on the elliptical, and you're waiting for time to pass by. I'm like, there has to be a better way. So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool that now you can substitute some cardio in place of boring cardio.
Sure.
Boxing's much more fun. It's
Of
much more
course. Yeah.
active. And that's just me. Like I'm an athlete at heart, so I just want to train all day. I don't really
Yeah.
care what it is, how it is. Like I just want
Yeah.
to train.
I've got a tie bag in the garage, so that's like what I've been doing for cardio.
Yeah.
And but if you've I come from like a grappling wrestling background,
Oh,
and
nice.
if you've
Awesome.
never done that, that is some of the most intense cardio you will ever do. It doesn't seem
Yep.
like it when you're watching people, but that's because a lot of times you're watching very high level people, and
Yeah.
their cardio is,
Make it look easy.
yeah, make it look easy. If you haven't done it in a while or have never done it, 10 seconds grappling is
Yeah.
a lifetime, you know? So,
Oh God, I
but
know.
yeah,
It's fun. I actually
yeah.
like it a lot more now that I'm getting, I mean, my cardio and conditioning was already up anyway, just
Hmm.
because I don't want to
Sure.
be, lacking in any department. But it's like, man, like the feeling of that is much different than a feeling
Of
from a
course.
workout. Like
Yeah.
when you come
Yeah.
out of it, it's like it's a high almost.
Hmm.
So you're like, wow, like I can't wait to get back in there and do it again.
Hmm. Yeah, it's also like very competitive. You know, like
Yeah.
weightlifting. Weightlifting is fun. Weightlifting
Hmm.
you enjoy the changes that your physique is going through and everything like that. But you're not necessarily competing at that point with the weights. You know,
Exactly.
but with like grappling, every time you practice, you're competing. So
Yeah.
it's a lot more fun. But hey, Katie. So
That's what it's.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I missed
No,
what
I
you
was
were
gonna
saying.
say it's much more like I guess measurable because usually us competitors like we lift weights, yes, and we can say, okay, I hit a PR, I did more than this person
Right.
next to me or whatever. But when you get on stage, nobody asks you that. They don't
Right.
say,
Right.
Katie, how much do you squat? How much
Yeah,
do you bench?
exactly.
Like 9 times out of 10, I'm probably doing more than the next person, but the judges don't really care about that. So that's why I like grappling. You like, jujitsu or boxing. Like
Hmm.
there's some, if someone taps, they tap. That's it.
Yeah,
You
that's
won.
it.
There's no debate. So that's
Very
kind
definite.
of what I
Yeah.
what I like more about that side of fitness.
Sure. 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 Yeah. No, definitely a difference, and I heard someone say that bodybuilding or fitness competition are more like, and some people don't like this term because they feel like it's a negative, but it's more like a beauty pageant because it's like
Hmm.
you're showing off, like the training part of it comes in, when you're at the gym, but like when you're on stage, you're really just showing, your physique. You're not really, I mean, I guess you could say that you're posing. So I mean, that's something. But can you hear me? Are you kind of breaking up a little bit? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you were breaking up a little bit too.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
you're. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. I was saying that like it's sometimes, I guess you could say posing is a like a
Hmm.
athletic move, but in
Hmm.
most cases you're just showing off what you've already built, in the
Pretty
gym.
much.
So, but it is what it is.
It is.
Hey,
It's a beauty pageant for muscle.
right, right, exactly. So, if somebody wanted to contact you with regard to training or anything like that, how would they do that? What's the best way? Go ahead and put a plug in, at the end of our episode
Yeah,
here.
for sure. I have a website up, kaleemade.com. That's KLEEMADE.com. Or you could check out my Instagram. That's KLEE024. Just click the email link there. You can send me an email, get some direct training. I have questionnaires and a process that I go through to make sure the clients are getting what they need. And I have all the information to create the program for them because these are custom programs. They're not just some generic program that I throw out to every person. I get their height, their weight, their age, count their macros, pick their foods, and it's very detailed. So it
Sure.
will help you in every area of your life. So
Awesome,
thank you for
awesome.
that.
So Instagram and then through the website. So that'll be the best ways. Okay, cool. Very cool. Well, I'll let you get back to your day, but thank you so much for coming on the show. Really appreciate it. It's fun.
Yes, I thank you for your time, and thank you for letting me share my story.
Great. Awesome. You take care. Bye bye.
All right, you too. Bye.